Now we got the Hexagon fixings in. You can see there's loads of room and it's quite easy to adjust. This one's a bit of a problem still because of that, and when I know the exact distance I'll make up new pillars and I'll make an offset pillar, drill the centre hole offset so that there's clearance there. And the carriage lock, I've used a flange bolt so you can easily locate it without the spanner sliding off, so job done. So easily accessible from the top. And I could reduce that depth more if I know, but that's absolutely fine. I suspect this is going to come out even more. Not to the extent that it was originally, because they used 2 of those, but I think I might have to come out more. I won't know until I get the replacement reader, and that will determine the position of that. But regardless, it's a worthwhile mod doing, replacing those cap heads with the Hexagon sockets, so you can actually get to them without taking the DRO scale off. Now I've got the new DRO scale with the ferrule that's properly installed and not broken. I've had to machine a little bit more out, but that's much better. That's pretty much a straight run. The cable's not under any stress at all. I've managed to push this back by about just over 1/8 inch, not as much as I thought I could, but it's better than it was. It's almost flush with that, so yeah, I think that's the best that we can do. I'm now going to make a plate up to hold that in position, and then we'll be ready to assemble it onto the lathe bed. Finished. It's a bit of a faff, but made up a plate to hold the cable, so there's no pressure on that cable now, and that comes out. We've lost about just under 1/4 inch total, I think. Not as much as I would have liked here. I could have gone back a little more, but making this stop here rather than the big screw that came out and barely touched there means that this can safely go up without fear of whacking the reader. So all in all, worthwhile, I think. Much neater. It's going to be more reliable, less prone to the cable getting snagged and damaged, and I've got a little more travel for the tailstock, and I can still get to the gibs to adjust them and the lock. At last, the carriage is on and complete. It's all adjusted. It slides very smoothly. There's absolutely no play, and I'm giving that a good old shove. Everything is very smooth. All the gibs adjusted. There'll be a need to be adjusted after it's been used for a while, but I still can get to the carriage lock. But I will probably replace that with a hex head so that I can get a spanner round there, because you do have to move it to a certain position to access it with an Allen key. But yeah, that's worked really well. I'm very pleased with that. It's very neat, and the new keeper plate really makes a big difference with that piece of frostwood bronze up there. It's really very stable. You just cannot move that. It's solid, but it still slides really easily. So it is a real faff to set up though. Very difficult. I've been on it all morning You have to assemble this because you can't get to the fixings easily when the carriage is on, so you have to assemble it all first, put it on, then make final adjustments. Not difficult, just faffy. So the next thing is to get the other DRO and route the cables so that they'll come up there, up the back and snake out to the DRO for the display. I put some shelving up there, and I will make up a plate and mount the DRO reader somewhere there, but on an arm I can move it about. Almost finished. Still having issues with the spindle. They sent me another one which is just as bad, so yeah, still working on that. So the cable comes out there and is clamped by that aluminium bracket, and then the P-clip there, and then it's I put a cable tie around there before it goes into that plastic sheathing. The cables move together as the carriage moves back and forth, so that's all cool. And that's worked really well. Very pleased with that. Now it's all assembled and complete, and the cable comes round and is just fixed there and joins the other cable underneath. It's difficult to show you that, I'm afraid. It's difficult to see, but this will be this cable. So the two cables from the longitudinal and the cross slide are joined together there, and they'll curl back to be fixed in the centre. And I've twinned them with some plastic sheathing. That'll stop scratching the paint. It all moves nice and freely. So just got to put the gearbox on and the lead screw, and then the only thing left to do is the spindle. At last, it's almost complete. I've not put the tool post on because I shall look to get a quick change tool post, and I almost certainly will have to do some machining to that, but everything works as it should, apart from the fact that there's no spindle at the moment. We're almost ready to go.